What's up everybody, my name is Marvin, better known as Ven from the TTV channel, which is a YouTube channel hosted by a team of young creative talent. We've worked on this channel for several years, and while a lot has changed, I am happy to say that we have maintained the same passion for building, collecting, and playing with LEGO that we had all those years ago. And we are more than excited to be able to bring all these qualities with us to the LEGO Live event in New York. There we'll be able to show you some of the cool creations we made out of LEGO Boost. So until then, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brainstorm.
Hi.
Hi, this is the show where we routinely mess up, screw up, and there's another up I could say, but I can't.
We have a fun time.
And watch Up. We watch Up the movie.
We watch Up?
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. I got it.
You get it? Yeah.
On this show, we have been routinely discussing our BIONICLE G3 system pitch, idea, revitalization, concept, and
The official one?
The official one, the one that is in store shelves, that will be. The LEGO's delayed it from 2018 to 2019. So
wow,
just you got one more year to wait, but we'll get it, guys. Don't worry, it's gonna happen.
Gosh.
It is official,
Incredible,
completely official. Please check the description in case you don't know what sarcasm means. I'm Var.
I'm Meso.
I'm John.
And I'm Prpl.
And once again, this is Brainstorm episode 18. So last week we decided to skip an episode because John, you weren't here, and we didn't have anything to talk about. So,
but now we got stuff.
But now we've got a million things to talk about. Oh boy!
We literally have a lot to talk about, and I'm actually really excited about all of this because
I'm not.
We got some really cool sets, which I'm always down to talk about sets. There's some other stuff too that we're going to talk about first. That's like
there's some other stuff too. It's okay.
But mostly the sets.
Mostly the sets. The sets are cool for me. It's the story, guys. It's always been the story. BIONICLE story is what
talked about that for 100 years.
Gets me going. You know, all those G2 amazing pop beats.
Shut up.
Really did good. That last book was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
Stuff there.
All right. Well, the first topic we have on our pit our list. My words failed me. Is this Pouks Panrahk pitch by A2B2C2
+1 for alliteration and a scheme in the name as well. Good job.
Oh, it is a scheme, huh? It's a good scheme. That's like an original scheme. I've never seen that before.
Evil scheme.
Yeah. R2D2.
What?
R2D2.
He doesn't follow letter patterns.
Yeah, but R doesn't come before D.
Maybe it's backwards and then skips a bunch of letters.
What?
No, I got it. She's saying that like it's the backwards alphabet. It's like R2 then S2 and all, but then they cut out all the letters.
Anyway, Pouks pitch.
Yeah, forget about it.
All right, so this pitch is
it wasn't that great.
Based around a young Pouks, and I haven't read it. I got to be honest with you.
Man, well, I'm glad you came here prepared, Var. Long story short, Pouks is this kid. He's born to a very wealthy family. Wow. He's born to a very wealthy family. With all the luxuries a little boy could want. He's picked as a successor by the merchant king who ruled the Forest Gate.
The car picked him?
Yeah, the car picked him.
A whole
the
car.
I didn't realize
him up.
There were cars in BIONICLE.
Yeah, I know. Uber exists in BIONICLE.
Sentient
That's
cars,
confirmed.
Pixar, this is the universe. The Cars universe.
Spoiler. It's been there the whole time. Basically, long story
Pixar
short,
picks cars for another sequel.
Akmu kind of like completely screws everything up because he wants to take over the Forest Gate, and he does, leaving Pouks kind of off and robbed and for dead. And basically, he tries to take control of his life by fighting Akmu, but doesn't really work out. They keep beating him until he finally finds the Brotherhood of Makuta, who saves him from Akmu, and then explain that their master has taken an interest in him. So he becomes the servant of the Brotherhood, kind of doing that whole deal. He likes his mutation. That was the key point that I actually thought was very interesting. Because he is the Rakshi of illusion, his previous mental images of himself were shattered. Like, he used to be a wealthy person, and then, like, when that was taken away from him, he was like, oh, I don't really know who I am anymore. And now he's no longer anyone else. He's no longer mistaken for who he used to be. He is now just whoever he chooses to be.
A freaky monster. But I like it.
Exactly.
That's a good
the
character.
Rakshi of illusion. So I like this pitch primarily because it doesn't tie into anything that's related to somebody. So there's no backstory where he's Pohatu's brother or his cousin-in-law or something. It's just pure, he's just there.
He just has a mutual enemy with Pohatu and Akmu.
Right.
If you're not with me, you're my enemy.
He hates sand. It's coarse and rough and gets everywhere.
I think Anakin Skywalker might be the greatest character ever invented. Anyway, okay. So he had like a little bit of land, and Akmu took it over, right? That was kind of what I got out of that.
Well, I mean, he was rich. His family was rich, and it was all stolen from him because of Akmu. So
stolen from him. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Cool.
So
I like the Scopio name. That's neato.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that means this guy has 3 names.
Well,
maybe a little confusing.
maybe
but
a little pushing it, but the Rakshi of illusion should have some illusions. So fair enough.
Yeah.
From
You
what
never
I
know
mean-
who he truly is.
Hayden Christensen should voice Panrahk. I agree. You took everything. I'll kill you.
Are you sure that's Hayden Christensen or is that Tommy Wiseau?
There's roll up. That's
Or-
what
You
it
took
is.
everything. I kill you.
I thought it was the
I-
Count from Sesame Street.
Dude.
That actor's roll up.
Tommy Wiseau as Anakin Skywalker in the new Star Wars prequel reboot.
Sesame Street.
Reboot.
The prequel reboot, yeah.
Reboot.
The preboot.
They've done that before
love
with there's a franchise that just did that. I guess it's Alien.
Is there?
Or there's a franchise
Oh.
that like they started over again with like the Star Trek kind of did that. That's technically a preboot in a sense.
Planet of
I
the
guess-
Apes technically is a preboot.
No, that is what I was thinking of. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Planet of the Apes is what. Yeah.
It's a
Star
preboot.
Wars.
Star Trek.
Episode 1.
Star Trek is technically a sequel because it takes place in a new universe where they destroyed the old one. So.
Star Wars Episode 1 by 2, The Phantom's Revengeance. Let's go.
The Phantom Revengers, starring Thor and
I love it.
Valkyrie.
Anyway, this pitch is neat.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it
I
too.
think that works. It
Canon.
doesn't
I
conflict with anything.
No,
it's good enough.
it does
I'd
bring
say
us some stuff
canon.
from the character. Yeah, we're gonna stamp that. We should make like a little image. It's like a
canon stamp.
A
Yeah.
canon stamp. Yeah. Make that
All
a
right.
note.
Next topic on the list here is started by Dark Henrik. This one is the Toa Weapon Concepts discussion.
So
this is actually-
I want to preface this by saying there are like right now it's just a compilation of the weapon concepts, and there's not like he's trying to find the other concepts and populating the topic with it. It did bring up something interesting where I thought we should pretty much define firsthand what are the Toa weapons, what are we thinking of them. We've had different
We've had
ideas
this
in the past
discussion like 4 times.
4 times, and we never actually like settled on
All of
official
which,
stuff.
all of which we come to the conclusion is just we like Matu's stuff. At least that's what I feel like his toe weapons
Tahu
are
has
almost
a sword.
exactly what I want them
Prpl
to
has
be.
the
See, I don't know. In terms of like the actual design, I don't think we ever reached a conclusion. But I mean, the actual weapons, I think we all kind of. had the
Dolly's
same-
hooks with the orange highlights. Tahu's fire sword.
Liwa's
Onua's
Tonfa's.
Ruby hammer.
Pohatu's the one
Liwa's
that
Tonfas.
can go either way at this point. I was never completely sold on Pohatu.
I've never been completely sold on any weapon Pohatu's ever had in the history of Bionicle, though, to be honest.
He had what was his weapon once? His feet. He had like
Claws,
he had boots.
a
and he had
propeller.
claws. Propeller. He had
Boomerang.
2 propellers. Then boomerangs, and then what's the
The
last one?
flail.
Uh,
The spear flail, which
Yeah.
You know,
Doesn't one
I
of the
like
Ninja
him
Turtles have
making
that now?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think Michelangelo's got just like a normal flail. It's close, but not quite.
He's gotta have the knife.
Oh yeah, he had claws for a bit. That's right. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, like we're all pretty much settled on that. I know like there are a couple members of the board who want Kapaka to have a sword, and I kind of wish Kapaka had a sword too.
Yeah, but like a thing, like a what's he called? A rapier?
Rapier.
We
can't have like a G2 situation where she has the same piece with Taha.
I really dislike that. I really did. And I also dislike the fact that the shield was just like the two pieces.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was actually I like the circle shield for Kapaka. It reminds me of like Shaftney a lot, and just didn't.
Well, I actually like the two-piece shield. To me, the thing that bothered me was the exact same pieces for Tahu. It was just like it was so reused that it was like, okay, well,
pretty lazy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I probably would have appreciated it more, even if it wasn't circle, if it was a different piece. But it just felt like I wasn't getting anything out of the buying Kopaka as opposed to like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're looking at it from a mocking perspective, in which case it's like really good.
Recolor.
Yeah, everyone loves their recolors. Anyway,
I'm totally on board with giving him a sword so long as he has a distinct visual identity.
Yeah. Like I don't know. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, like the rapier versus the broadsword that Tahu has. Tahu would have a two-handed broadsword, and Kopaka would have a one-handed rapier. I feel like it fits their personalities and the fighting style.
Like a smaller
as well.
weapon in general.
Yeah, it's a smaller weapon. It's more regal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that like the same as like a fencing sword?
Yes.
Like I can see him doing like fencing stuff or whatever.
It would be more of a defensive fighting style for sure. I'm not sure if exactly fencing is the right word or if a rapier is the right weapon, because I know like that's pretty specific for a fencing kind of thing. I'm not sure how like practical it would be in like a combat scenario.
Picture from way back where.
Especially with Kopaka having a shield, I'm not really sure if that would conflict with the way fencing works or not.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, that could also conflict with some of this stuff. It could also be like if you ever seen that thing from Troy where they have I'm gonna see if I can find a GIF of that to throw up on screen too. They have like the shield and the sword, or they use a shield and a spear.
Right.
Let's see if I can find this. Oh, that's violent. I'm not gonna do that.
Nice.
Okay. All right. I found.
I always end up going back to Berserk with Guts versus Griffith. I know I posted this before when we discussed it the last time, but I feel like that really encapsulates kind of how I feel towards like the Tahu versus Kopaka type of combat, where you've got like one with a really big broadsword and one with like a small.
Go. This is perfect, actually. Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah,
I like
What's
it a
the
lot.
anime?
Berserk. Yeah,
It looks really good. Well, actually, I like the.
It's very violent.
It looks better from the girl's point of view than the guy. The guys looks a little. It's just the way he's drawn.
That's a girl.
That's a guy.
That's also
They're
a
both
guy?
guys.
They're both guys.
Yep.
The other guy looks better drawn.
Very feminine. Yeah. It's part of the plot,
style.
kind of.
I've heard the new Berserk is the best they ever made.
Oh, this is a good GIF. I'll post that one too.
All right, I'm going to zoom in on this GIF so like people can see the stuff.
Nice explosion. A fight in the land of Ihu.
Exactly. It's a pretty intense fight. I really like that fight.
Ooh.
It's good. Anyway, but yeah, so that's kind of what what I've always seen. Kraata has posted some concepts of a weapon that Kopaka could have, and that looks really cool.
Let me see.
Ooh, it's like a spear sword.
It's a spear that turns into a sport.
It's like Genji.
Okay.
The head looks like Genji.
Yeah, that would be a glaive. I kind of gave Kopaka a glaive in the animated thing I did.
Yeah, and so did Ragdoll. So actually, I kind of like the idea of the sword and the glaive. That's always like if I had to choose a weapon for Wonder Woman. Ironically, that's the one I would have.
A glaive.
Cool. Yeah.
Glaive.
Like it's a sword that turns into a glaive because like
King's glaive, Final Fantasy thing.
I was trying to think of a pun for that.
Glaive.
Well, that's where the name is derived from, because it's his glaive, like his weapon.
King. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's people. That's his weapon. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, I like the glaive because it's kind of like a sword on top of a spear, right? It's like a sword spear. It's like a combination of the two. So if you have one that extends like that, then that actually could be the best of both worlds.
Yeah, Hannah Montana, you tell him.
Cause they're the best of my world. Remember when Hannah Montana used to be like everywhere, like literally everywhere?
I remember.
Yeah, I remember middle school quite clearly.
Like you'd walk into a Walmart and there'd just be like Hannah Montana like flyers and like posters and stuff just littered all over the place.
Just everyone wanted to be Hannah. I remember when High School
You couldn't turn on the radio without hearing a Hannah Montana song. How the mighty have fallen.
Remember when BIONICLE used to be popular? Sorry. All right, let's keep going.
No.
Couldn't go anywhere without BIONICLE posters being anywhere. Nah, that never happened.
BIONICLE in the movie theaters. BIONICLE's everywhere.
Anyway, so that's our Toa Weapon list. Essentially, it's been the same for a while now, guys. So if you're interested in making up new concepts for it, then go for it. But in terms of like what we're looking for, I think it's been pretty kind of set in stone.
Dolly's got the bone hooks with the orange highlights. You know, the design may vary, but pretty much still going to be the same.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to the next topic here, we've got some another topic by A2B2C2. He's got some Mangaian Concepts, bit of art to go along with it, which is always good.
Let's go.
I'm gonna load this up.
Link. So these are minifig concepts and kind of like some like sort of like just design element concepts. It looks like it's inspired by Egyptian
How interesting.
stuff.
The Funa in particular.
Yeah, it's like a Vakama concept there.
Yeah, so he's
wonder-
taking inspiration from the headdress from like the pharaohs and stuff, and applying it to how.
I wonder if Lego took inspiration. Because it's pretty similar, that the Huna bottom there.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I think they just like the idea of giving their mask like a beard-looking thing.
They've done that several times, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
All right,
the
let's do it.
Lekon headdress at the bottom, I quite enjoy.
The Lekon one is really good, yeah. Actually, I think that's really, really good, actually. I quite like that one. It seems a bit more ancient in design, you know? It's more ancient than like what we got out of G2 or something. Kind of reminds me of how they handled like the Mask of Creation as opposed to like the how.
He mentioned that like he was envisioning a secret organization called the Hand of Artaka, which has a I guess it would be similar to the Order of Madanili, but like in our world, the Hand of Artaka has a different meaning than it did in G1.
Oh, there's a secret organization going around taking over the land. They kill your son, forcing you to become an assassin and go out to actually try to hunt them down one by one, forming the Assassin's Creed once and for all.
And then 5 games later, Bionicle Pirate.
Pirates.
Bionicle Pirates.
They like no, that's what happens. Like they sink the like Bakuda destroys the island, and so everyone gets on boats, and they're all like pirates, and they're like we bring back the old pirates theme, but it's Bionicle. Take notes,
Black
like
Mask.
I wouldn't be against it.
Honestly,
A
I
pirate
wouldn't either.
year?
Like, wouldn't it be kind of cool to like have like these giant boats, but they're like cities? You know, they have like different things, and you can like the boats like
The
dock with
Paraka
one
would be a
another.
pirate.
The
think
Paraka
about
would be
it.
pirates. All the
Oh my
newies
gosh.
would just be like giant like
Maybe the
docks of
Maraki,
like
because like Davy Jones.
modular stuff.
Yo ho, Parako.
Oh,
Yo ho, Parako.
Yo ho, Paraka! Yo ho, Paraka!
Oh wow, a pirate.
Pirata.
It didn't work quite as well as I thought it was going to. It was gonna be like a seamless wordplay, but it wasn't. Rip. All right, well, these concepts are pretty neat. I like them a lot.
Same.
We don't really.
Yeah.
We have
How you
yet to
doing?
really find a place for Vakama as a character to be in G3 yet.
Nope.
He could
Unless
be
he's just one of the elders.
He was one of the. I mean, there's been like ideas of him being one of the elders or him being one of the older Toa. I know we had like the Metros being one of the other Toa at one point.
Yeah, that was initially a thing.
So
we also toed around with like having like Lekon and like the first Toa people.
Yes.
Like,
What if Kama
like that.
was like an old Toa, but now he's just like the crazy old man down the street because he's like super duper old or something?
your face is super super old.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Is.
No,
All right,
it's
so-
not.
Anything else we want to say about this one before we move on?
I like it, but we don't know where Vakama is going to be in the pitch.
Yeah.
So
I like the Lacan mask a lot. So
yeah, it would be it's a nice concept to use anyways. So I would like to see that we would have different masks that aren't just a Toa mask, obviously. So.
Yep. All right. So next topic is the Kraata Pitch, hosted by Tridac Master. I should do like an announcer voice whenever we do a new topic, just like really hype them up, like they're like professional wrestlers or something. Yes. No. Maybe so. All right. Well, this
I
is
chuckled.
Yeah, you were the only reaction. Everybody else was completely silent. Purple. It hurt my feelings. It made me really like sad and depressed.
There's a laugh.
Well,
You're
now you know what
funny,
it's like to be ignored.
No one ignores you, Purple. Shut up.
Comedy personified.
Literally, no one ignores you.
Everyone bends over backwards to give you attention.
No,
Yeah,
they don't.
yeah, they do. Shut up.
Yeah, they totally do.
They don't.
How-
Someone will post something in chat and no one will ever respond, and it makes me sad.
Oh, boo-hoo. No one
Right,
responded
more.
to your stupid message.
That's never happened to any of us before, so I can't.
Right?
Yeah, I can definitely sympathize. What a
Cry us a
painful,
river.
terrible thing to happen to someone.
Anyway, so this pitch is based on the Kraata, which is interesting because we haven't talked about Kraata, I don't think at all, since we brought up the Rockshi in our G3.
I think we vaguely mentioned something, but I don't remember. So go on.
All right, so I'm probably just going to read this because it's a pretty short little paragraph here. But it says that the Rockshi have powers unlike their respective color elements, but the Rockshi parts seem to enhance their forms, not their powers. My idea is that the Kraata are strange creatures made from darkness that corrupt what they touch. Ew. They convert fire to fear, water to corrosion, earth to hunger, etc. These also grant powers related to that element. Fire Matoran can't use the fire element unless a Toa. Wait, what? Can't use the fire element unless a Toa. All right. Much like a corrupted Toa stone. The Kraata were also used to fuse the Rahi and Matoran together. This is why Turak isn't just a Matoran with a spooky face and spider body, but rather a Matoran with a spooky face and spider body with powers. Actually, it seems the backs and heads of the Rockshi are accurate to G1 because these features are unlike the Rahi they fused with. Kraata could be the source of those parts.
Well, the one
What if the
misconception.
Kraata were the mask of monsters?
Also, not a bad idea. The one thing I will say, I like most of this, but there's a misconception. They are not fusing with Rahi particularly. It's not like, Norik. It's like, okay, do the fusion dance with a spider. Merge with Lost, for instance. They're transformed, they're mutated, and they take on bestial attributes that do not particularly belong to just one Rahi or just one animal entirely. Yeah. It's more the sense that their bodies are just kind of maligned in general.
I think.
However, I
that's
do
correct.
like the idea of Kraata as a plot device to explain why. Because it ties into the whole elemental corruption thing we've already been planning on doing.
I do like the way it corrupts the elements, and that's an interesting idea.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like. We had previously come up with this idea that the Mask of Time devolved the Matoran back into kind of like these Rahi Matoran hybrids. But I also like the idea of the corruption of elements. And then like each of the elements that the Rahi have are a corruption of the element that the Toa have, the elements, the light and shadow aspect. There is no there's no shadow element per se. There's a corruption and a purity, I think, to each of the elements. So corruption of the ice element is hunger, I think, right? Or, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Well, I think hunger is for the Onu element, but
You're right.
okay.
You're totally right. Yep.
Yeah. So it seems like we kind of like the ideas that this would present, not quite necessarily the literal usage of what the Kraata are, though. So that kind of is still up in the air in terms of what they would be and how they're attributed to the Rakshi and where they came from, that kind of thing. Still kind of a blank slate there. Do you guys have any ideas about Kraata? Because I haven't, like I said, we haven't really ever talked about that before. It's never really been a part of our Rakshi, to be honest.
It's never been a part of our Rakshi because I hated that about the Rakshi. I didn't like the idea that they were just
all right. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, no, I hated that concept that like the real Rakshi were inside the armor, but they never,
I didn't like they were shells.
Yeah, they didn't like their shells or something. They had no real personality. They felt more like just throwaway fodder villains because they were like slugs.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I'm totally okay with the Kraata just being a vaguely explained handwave MacGuffin to get the Rakshi to the point they need to be. Maybe relics from Makuta or
it could be
evil
like
creatures that roam the island that they've hoarded or whatever, so long as they're used to transform them and then they're not used again.
It could be a medical thing, like the leeches. Back in olden days, they would use leeches to, you know what I'm saying? To
suck
like,
out poison
suck out
poisons or like different things like that, So it could be like a thing where they are being used for X reason, and then they kind of get like
instead of like sucking out poison, it's like injecting poison.
Right.
Oh, dude, like you can have like the Matoran taking like Kraata baths where they like get in the tub and there's just like a bunch of Kraata everywhere, just kind of like injecting them with like poison, but slowly transforming them. Oh, that sounds gross. I like it.
Sounds pretty nasty. Something along those lines is what I'd like to say, rather than the Kraata being integral to how the Rakshi function.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, in that case, moving on to the next pitch here. This one's an interesting one. Matoran Slang world building. Here,
I wanted to hear what you guys had to think about this.
Yeah, we haven't talked about this before.
We haven't.
Language has been an interesting part of Bionicle, right? Because you always had like the tree speak with the Matoran from G1, and I was always kind of half and half with that, where I'm like, yeah, that's kind of a neat idea that they'd have their own little like way of talking. But on the other side was like kind of annoying.
Sounds pretty dumb sometimes. There was like
it sounds kind of dumb,
especially when we were writing our own Bionicle stuff. Sometimes we had to write scripts based on Bionicle and we'd like incorporate tree speak. I'd be like, this is stupid. I don't. It just sounds. Maybe I just don't know how to use it correctly, but it couldn't sound good at all.
All right, so I'm gonna go through this guy's kind of ideas here. So he's got school talk. These are just words typically used by children to describe things. Interesting, not too Bionicle really, but Nui is cool. That's so Nui.
It's a popular TV show, like That's So Raven.
Island, actually.
It's like
That's so Nui.
All right, go on, keep going.
Nuva is a word that describes a popular person or a fashion trend. That's really Nuva, dude.
All that blocky silver armor, so Nuva.
Toa and Nuva, man, they're really fashionable. Tree speaker,
That's good.
A tree speaker is a not very intelligent person. Okay, I take it this guy's not a fan of Matoran. Named after the now extinct form of speech that mashed two words together to describe something. Okay.
I can see that being like illiterate because you need two words to describe something that you could find one word to describe. You know what I'm saying? Like they used to be they would use two words that sound exactly the same. They'd be like, oh, the fire flame is getting to, like they would use similes. A lot.
Okay, these next ones are interesting. Ruru stands for nerd. Komau is jock. Huna is teacher's pet. Mahiki is class clown. Metru is throwback.
Metro Monday.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I might adopt that one. That might have to become canon. The others, I don't know.
It is interesting because we're not really planning on using these names for masks, I don't think.
No.
So it is
I
a
don't think
good
so.
sort of adoption of the words, I suppose. Matatu is a heartless person. Rao is an attractive Matoran. He says,
Sounds like you're making a growling noise or whatever.
Rao. Oh, dude. Rao.
Wow.
Isn't that what Dustin does in Stranger Things? He's like,
Yeah.
Matoran flirting is pretty cringy. Wow.
Mata is current. Bara is future.
Mm.
Miru, a word meaning Kanayan child. Huh. Cow is a Nahoan child. Hao is a Mangaian child. Akaku is an Ihuan child. Kakama is a Matoran child. And Pakari is a Tiroan child.
Matoran. Not Matoran. Actually, isn't it Motari?
He spelled it Matoran, so... Oh, no, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Matoran.
No, he didn't.
Okay, well, whatever.
Oh, we're gonna know.
Kraken, a word meaning sketchy, spooky, out of place.
Spooky, scary Kraken.
And then
That'd
there's
be
crude talk.
Kraken
God,
skeleton.
this Nuva took me to invited me to hang out at this Kraken place for a.
And I was like, I'm so
what was this Kraken Park?
I'll do whatever you want.
That dang Bogarak. I think I say that's Bogarak is a rude name for an Ahoan. Votarak is someone who acts without a second thought, leaping on impulse. Keelarak is a name for a word. I'm not gonna remember any of this, even if we were to canonize
Roxy names.
Yeah.
Sorry, Vizorak.
Vizorak names. I mean, for some of the elemental powers. Okay,
So
well, I mean, you get the idea.
I get the idea. So, some of these are interesting.
I want to adopt a Metro.
Do you guys remember
Metro Monday
when we were doing Sprite comics?
Think about it. Metro Mondays. I mean, like this week, we can look back at this BrickFeed mark.
How do you do, fellow Rush? He's got an all-American reject shirt.
The most Nuva
Ryan,
Roxy.
shut up.
The newest Roxy ever, dude.
That's gonna be the thumbnail. Wow.
That is amazing.
Wow.
Sorry, what were you saying, John?
I was just saying, like, back when we did comics, there were some people who used cars instead of like a swear word. So they would be like, because it would stand for Karzani, and that would be like, that was like the substitution for the afterlife. So it would be like, oh, like, oh, go to Cars, or like, oh, what the Cars is going on here? And I was like, this is cringy. This doesn't sound that great. So some of these is actually, I do actually think like the idea of Metro being a thing for throwback, kind of like the old phase of the 80s. I like that a lot. Some other stuff I don't really like. I don't really like the Nuva. I don't like the Rao. I don't like.
I might be off in my thinking, so correct me if this doesn't jive with how you imagine it. This is the kind of stuff that I would imagine we would put in a hypothetical Brickonicle encyclopedia, or a Brickonicle dictionary, or some kind of supplemental book showing the language of the culture. I imagine that in their world, the Bionicle characters don't speak English. I imagine they have their own language. It's just translated to English for the purpose of our story.
Right.
Well,
So none of these words would get used. In their language, they might. Or there might be equivalent words. Or occasionally they might get changed to emphasize a point that the author, the storyteller, is trying to convey to us. But we're not gonna use Bogarak instead of idiot, for instance. Or whatever. That's not gonna happen. Maybe in their world.
Part of the thing that, like, one, this is the slang. Two, I have realized over time when I think it makes sense, especially with like alien stuff, where it's like their language should not be our language. But at the same time, there is some level of suspension of disbelief, because if we do that, do remember that we cannot ever have puns in the Bionicle world.
Can't ever have puns.
So I will let me give you an example of a pun here, right? Or I'm like, what's black and white and red all over?
I don't know.
It's a newspaper because, it's black and it's white and you read it all over. Ha. That's a pun, right?
I thought it was a roadkill penguin.
Oh, well, that's not where I was going with that, but thanks for making it dark purple.
Yes,
Here's what I'm getting at. So the pun works because red and read, or red and red, like red, the past tense of reading, and red, the color, sound exactly the same in our language. Therefore, I make the pun, you are thinking the color red, because I said black and white and red, and then I'm like, haha, the pun is actually... Puns are plays on words. The problem is, if we're dealing with a completely different language, and we accept that, like, all this stuff, that's another thing that comes of that, right? The reason I know this is because there are Chinese puns, and they don't work in English. I would ask my parents when I was really young to translate them, and they said it won't work because the word for this in Chinese is similar to another word in Chinese, but they're not similar in English. Like horse and the thing for a question are the same word in Chinese, ma. But you can make a pun out of that if you're speaking Chinese. You can't do that if you're in English. So the same thing will apply to Bionicle. If we're like, cool, if like, all right, everyone speaks a different language, that's great. But if we ever have a pun, like in Bionicle, they would have puns. And that didn't work because that actually can't happen. They're using a different word for when they say these things. So their puns, when translated, wouldn't mean the same thing to us. Or
Have we given any thought as to how this story would be framed? As in, because like if it were me, I imagine we would still do the whole listen again to the legend of the Bionicle thing. Right. So if you want to get super meta, the entire story is being recounted somewhere to some kids at a campfire. Pretty much.
Yeah.
It is perfectly within my realm of suspension of disbelief that there would be artistic license with delivery, especially of jokes.
Well, and
I don't think anyone's going to question the plot holes of language translation puns.
There is a thing where in the TV show it's being told by Akir. That's like he's the person that's the thing, right? So I'm not sure where I'm gonna go, but
essentially I don't think that's a concern. Basically, we could say they speak English for the sake of puns and wordplay comedy, or we could say they speak another language that's been translated into English. The net result is the same, and there's odd questions you can ask for both. Like, how do the puns get translated? Or, why do they speak English in this hyper-technological future world? You know, there are, like, head-scratchers on both sides, none of them are story-breaking. Essentially, the point I'm making is I like all of those translated ideas, and I like maybe a few of the words to actually use, like Metru. But right. I don't want most of them to be used in the common vernacular.
In the context, right.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
perhaps in a supplemental encyclopedia.
Bionicle has several, like, Coley Head or Makuta Bones they use in the movies that I also don't know, like.
They were always cringy.
Yeah.
Always.
So they need to be used in a context that feels a bit more. The reason why I'm on board of Metru is because that does sound like an era that they had, and when they're referring back to that era, that makes sense.
And with words like Rakshi, because it's a cool name for the villains, but if you're like, okay, what does Rakshi mean? Well, it does actually mean something, so there you go.
Right. Well, I think there's also something to be said for like words that are clearly tied to our world that would not be applied to their world. I can't really think of an example off the top of my head.
Like in G2, they said needle in a haystack.
Yeah, exactly. A needle in a haystack.
And needles.
It's a very weird idiom that only really applies to our culture, so it's kind of weird that the Bionicle characters would use that idiom, you know?
That's true.
So in instances like that, it might make sense to try to come up with some kind of more Bionicle sounding.
Wasn't there one point where I might be 100% completely misremembering this, but like someone said something, an idiom kind of like oh, Mahi got your tongue, or like something that was like that was weird because you're like, oh, do they have tongues? Do they?
Yeah, I think it was in the G2 animations. Yeah.
Or something like that.
Got your tongue, or something got your tongue.
Something like that. It might not have been that same idiom, but like, yeah, something that doesn't make sense when you think about the world. There's one, they referenced the Wizard of Oz once, where the Voltraz are like, "Oh, I'll click my heels and be transported back." I was like, "Dude, what does that mean in your world, though? You don't have the Wizard of Oz."
Yeah, so I feel like most idioms I feel like aren't going to work if we try to use them just straight like a hot potato. Like, what is a hot potato?
Right. If you don't have potatoes. Right.
Yeah.
We can. I do like the idea of creating our own idioms, as long as they don't fall into that cringy thing. You can create your own idioms that kind of like, you know, like I would say that like rust would be a much bigger deal for a race of people who are all metallic.
Get rusted.
No. See, that's cringy.
Wow. Anyway, so we're going to move on to our next topic. This is going to be our final story idea pitch for this episode. This one was submitted by, it was Toa Noah Wafflemeister.
Oh, yeah.
Toa Noah Wafflemeister. Yeah. This is an Annona pitch. Now, we previously mentioned interest in incorporating Annona into the story.
Way in the future.
Yeah, way in the future. So that's one thing. Essentially, breaking this pitch down, essentially the concept, the idea being presented is that Annona is Karzani's daughter, right? So where the other brothers went to create the elemental lords, Karzani was like, you know what, it'd be a great idea if we made a seventh lord, but this lord, when he built her, she ended up becoming more of just kind of a helper to Karzani than an actual elemental god, like the others. Mm-hmm. Which kind of ended up reducing her to more of a daughter-like role for Karzani. And the relationship between the two is kind of similar to like, I guess kind of like Ego and Mantis and Guardians 2. Kind of like how she was like kind of calming his thoughts or like reading his thoughts and stuff and that kind of thing. So apparently like the idea here is that, you know, Karzani's crazy and his mask kind of gives him these visions all the time. So she could calm him down by like calming his mind or whatever and like clearing his thoughts.
Like a very efficient therapist.
Yeah, kind of. But then it goes into like all this other kind of stuff where like there's like this big like whole like fight, you know, between Karzani and her or something. There's a war. She's trying to take over Kanai, and Takanuva's in this, and that it kind of goes off the rails there.
I think again, like part of the whole thing, and we have to consistently remind people with pitches, is to be aware that once you start getting too much into your thing, once it starts becoming a main story thing, once there's a war and once there's a whole deal, that's when it starts to, then we were more likely to say, hey, rein that in, probably not going to do that. The more it kind of like becomes this like crazy, a lot of people want to do their own story past year 3 or incorporate these things, but they don't work within the story that's trying to be told. And part of the thing is you're contributing to a story team. The direction of the story team has to be, you know, coherent.
Right.
There is one thing I will say about this pitch, unless you're done with it.
Well,
reading it,
I was gonna say there's
for me there's a big flaw to this one that I don't like it.
Okay, I want to hear. Yeah, we'll talk about this initial pitch. The reason I actually linked this is because of something down below. But continue.
Yeah. What do you want to say, Meso?
Real quick, just this is cool. There are good ideas here, particularly building upon Karzani, personal stakes, you know, universe continuity. I respect all that. Personally, this does not jive with my vision of Annona, which was going to be this kind of cosmic, almost eldritch abomination horror that the Bionicle characters are going to have to realize superseded all of paltry squabbles on their island.
All their tiny little conflicts, exactly. It was going to bridge the world to the
grander scale of things.
Yeah.
This keeps it more down low.
Yeah, that's pretty much why I dislike this one too. For me, there's a big flaw in the concept, and unfortunately, I feel like this guy put a lot of work into the pitch itself, which I kind of feel bad about because I feel like there's one like the problem that I have with it. It's very very beginning idea thing that he ended up putting a lot of time into. That I feel like, you know,
what is it?
Saying I don't like that one idea is going to ruin all the work that he did. But I don't like the idea. I don't like of Annona being yet another sort of Lord God figure family member in this weird Lord God family that is also secret, you know, and locked away and hidden from everybody else. Because we're already doing that with Karzani,
Guys,
and now we're doing it with with his daughter. Yeah, exactly.
Lord God should be their last name.
You thought there were 2 gods? Ha! There are 3. Oh, you thought there were 3 gods? Ha! There are 4.
You thought there were 4 gods? Ha! There's Madanuli. Forgot about him. And then there's also
Yeah, it is a little derivative of that concept. And for me, I think that doesn't quite work because we're already technically doing that thing. There are ideas here that I do really like. I do like that he's working with the concept of Karzani being crazy and he's using Annona as his way to clear his mind. I think that's really clever way of incorporating her and something that makes sense for his character and that story, right?
I like the idea that we could tie it into the Eldritch Abomination that Karzani is contacting something out there to soothe his mind or something, and then that thing starts coming slowly towards the
something along those lines.
But yeah, I just think that's kind of a big thing that I just dislike about it. And yeah, basically what Meso said with Annona was going to be our 4th big villain, and Annona was going to be the thing that really brings the scale of this Bionicle world and its conflict to a much larger, vastly larger scale than it was before. It's not just on an island. Now we're going into the beyond, the cosmos.
Right.
I want to tell you minifigures so bad. That whole idea, is really cool.
The whole concept that it's not just on this island. There's a whole galaxy out there of crazy or otherworldly things that you just can't comprehend.
And otherworldly Rahi or something, or even creatures essentially. That would be really cool to build.
They're not even alien. They're just so metaphysical things that just you can't even put down into words.
It would be interesting to explore that concept past the 3 years and past the other arc. We're gonna have a Karzani that would involve the rest of the island and possibly other islands within the planet. I would say that post year 3 that we'd probably explore what was on the planet, and then
if there ever was a time to do that, it would be with Karzani's arc.
The 4th arc,
it would be Karzani's arc.
The 4th arc would involve them going outside to the other planets. Because in Bionicle, they had Barra Magna, they had Aqua Magna. They had a lot of. They were going in that direction when they were going to other planets before it stopped. So,
yeah.
Our pitch is gonna go full Gurren Lagann.
But see, I kind of wish we hadn't talked about that because now we're gonna get the this is the new
trust me,
pitch.
If anyone even tries to make a pitch for it, it's gonna immediately be scrapped.
It's too far. We gotta focus on the first 3
There have been some very, very good pitches that have played with the idea. They've kind of flirted with the idea, and I think those are the best ones. The ones the Tapestry of Time. Where Tahu's got that thread, and he sees the dark, the red thing in the distance. You don't know what that is. What is that? Who knows? That's great because it's mysterious. There's no answer to it that's right away, and we can work with that. Right? It's ambiguous and vague. The Toa Nui concept was really, really good too. So you can make it work, but I think if you're, I would recommend maybe staying away from that topic for now.
Right.
If you're
what I wanted to draw attention to, if you scroll down to the 13th post, is minifigure concepts for Annona that actually were really cool, and they were made by Kardax, and I actually thought that they could we could talk about these concepts as things for even Variki or whoever we were planning on being the
I never really imagined Annona being a minifigure, but I'd imagine she could take many forms.
Well, I was talking about this. It's all lightning based. The designs are all net lightning based, so I wanted to see what you guys thought of them.
Oh, whoops.
I'm actually going to. Yeah, there we go.
I mean, they're okay. Yeah, their designs. I mean, they're pretty standard tier. They're just minifigures with some kind of cloth accessories and lightning weapons.
It's weird because I enjoy all of them, but I'm having trouble. It's not how I want Variki to look, and it's not how I want Annona to look. They're just cool minifigures, but the bulky armor, the giant weapons, it doesn't work for either.
Something I was just thinking of, I'm just going to throw it out there. If you took away the lightning elements, could be some interesting designs for the Sister of the Scrawl.
That's true. If they ever play a role in anything.
If they ever,
But I could totally be down for
find
that.
a role for them. But like, I don't like the. I don't know if I find
that.
a role for them. But like, I don't like the. I don't know if I like the idea of all the psychic stuff. But the idea of there being a sisterhood at some point, with like the.
I like
designs,
the
black and the
chest
purple.
armor used on the second minifigure. That's very striking, very visual and unique.
They kind of look like Lightning Toe. Like all of them fit together because it looks like one of them is a big fig, or not a big
It
fig,
does,
but an
like
axle
like
fig.
an axle fig. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of
I
like.
don't know if
Lightning
it's an
Toe.
axle fig. I think it just has like big bulky armor.
It looks like
No, it's the
Yeah.
armor that Jor-El has. And the look, I only said that because like I'm looking at him right now. I have the Jor-El minifigure from the Lego Batman Movie Wave. I'll
Brag
bring
about
a
it.
picture for him.
I don't need to bring up a picture. I believe.
Yeah, it's okay. I can Google it. You're fine. But yeah. So they're neat concepts, but I don't think there's nothing here that's really like blowing me away. I suppose it's not. It's definitely not the direction I want Annona to be.
Mhm.
So.
I figured as much.
All right.
Before we go into the thing, I do want to mention one thing that I want to acknowledge, but I didn't include in the link dump for a very specific reason. There is a script done. There is a BIONICLE G3 Season 1 Episode 3 script done by a member named Kaituhi. And the reason I didn't include it in the dump is because it's already difficult to get these guys to read scripts that redo, and I'm pretty sure no one has read it.
We have not read it yet, no.
So I want to acknowledge you and say thank you for doing this. This is really cool. I kind of wanted to devote an entire episode to it, so that's another reason I didn't want to include it in this one as well. And we're going to give everyone a chance to read over it, draw attention to it, comment, critique it, and everything. And next week we will talk over the script in depth about it.
Props to you.
But I'm very happy that someone took the initiative to sit down and write a whole episode. I'm not easy,
really cool.
Not an easy task. So
looks properly formatted and everything. So
yeah, it's
very nice.
it's like script formatted too. I'm really excited about like being able to dive into this. So
it'll be really cool to digest. So we're gonna give it some time to actually let us all sit down and read it, so we can actually talk about it. So.
Right.
All right. So for the next half of this, or the next 15 minutes, a little less than that, of G3, we're gonna be moving on to more set stuff. There's a ton of set stuff. So we didn't do an episode last week because there wasn't a lot to talk about. There's so much to talk about this week, like just a ridiculous amount of stuff to talk about.
Like, crazy amount of stuff.
This first topic was submitted by Kardax. Now,
Kardax is
get
kind
ready,
of done
'cause-
like almost all of these. Basically, I think he might have actually done all of these.
Oh, really? All the topics on this list?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Kardax is busy this week, huh?
He was
the
real
best,
busy,
Kardax.
and he did a great job at like
Trying to one up
creating some
Dakota
really-
and set quantity.
Some people. Yeah, people are really getting into this.
I like it, man. All right, so this one is the Naho Bridge. It's a Civil War concept. So we're starting to move into some Civil War kind of year 2 set concepts and ideas, which is pretty cool because we're going to be getting there soon anyway. So it's good to go ahead and get a head start with that.
It's also like some of these sets are just like places in places or features in the world. They don't necessarily need to be used for the Civil War, although they will have a place in the Civil War. So we could move them forward to this wave, or we could there's just more sets to talk about conceptually. So anyhow,
Yeah. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's a bridge in Naho, It's
Are
a
you
cool
sure?
bridge. It's a cool bridge. Comes with a nice kind of boat vehicle thing, which has a really cool canopy that opens up. I really like the design, and I love, once again, we talked about it before, I love the reusage of the BIONICLE elements from G1.
Particularly the G2 fins on the bottom. Those work really well.
Those work very well, yeah. I love the integration there. It's something that I think a lot of BIONICLE fans would appreciate if this were to actually happen, getting those elements back. And the integration here, I think, works beautifully. So that's a really cool looking boat.
the boat especially carries the same design language that Sakota did as well with his, and that's something I really admire. That it's a very distinct vehicle. It does not look exactly like Sakota's boat at all. If you can see it and be like, it's a different boat, but the same people built it, same culture built it.
Which is always a good thing.
Yeah. The bridge itself.
It's a bridge.
Yeah, it's a bridge. It has its
good
purpose.
Detailing. It has good coloration. The foliage helps breathe some life into it. At the same time, I feel like it might be a little plain. I don't know. When you compare it to the last bridge that like I made, which was like Master Falls from the Ninjago movie.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, the bulk of the design aesthetic went to the boat, despite the set being called the Naho Bridge. But it's still a cool bridge. It's not a bad one by any means.
Yeah, I think you have a point there, Meso. I think if you were to maybe rework the bridge a little bit, maybe try to give it a bit more flair, make it a bit more Master Falls-y, this could be a really good set.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if the bridge had less length, if it had more detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like making it more compact would sort of like remove a lot of the negative space and stuff that's in this.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And also, it's just kind of an interesting set because you have a boat and you have a bridge, but the boat can't go underneath the bridge. It's just kind of like a minor nitpick. So what do you do when you're like playing with the set? The boat flies over the bridge.
It goes on the bridge.
It goes over.
You don't know, dude. You don't know. You don't know my story.
No, I don't, because they haven't written it. Maybe the nail flying bridge maneuver will be a big important battle in the Civil War.
All right, so moving on. I gotta preface this one. I freaking love this next topic. All right, I think Meso, I think you're gonna love it too. This is another Civil War set by Kardax. This is the Motara Attack Force.
Loving it.
And this is so freaking cool, man. I adore everything about this. There might be a bit too many minifigures for this for it to really work.
Yeah.
You probably have to cut out like 2 or 3 of those.
What's the price here? Like a $50 set, 509 pieces.
509, yeah.
We definitely need to have just like 3, maybe 4 minifigures, not 6.
Yeah.
Or more. I know more than that. 8. Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah, there's way too many minifigures.
Design-wise, though, it's great.
Design-wise, though, I think it's great. I mean, look at that picture. That last picture on that topic is just so freaking
really
cool, man.
Like all of them walking towards the. There might be too many minifigures. Possibly. I feel like this is more minifigures than they've ever included.
We just said that.
Size. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I had to pay attention to the. I had to look at something else.
I could tell.
My bad. I'm paying attention now. I swear.
Nice.
Yeah. So too many minifigures, but yeah, this set just looks gorgeous. I love the Rahi designs like entirely. These are so good. I like the size difference between the two. The big rhino and the more like kind of like bull cow thing is also good variety for what you're getting here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Just love it. I think Rahi is the thing that's really going to set this G3 apart from other LEGO themes. I think that's the thing that most LEGO themes aren't doing right now. That's animals.
The closest thing we got was with Chima. We had like animal.
They had animal-themed vehicles, which was not the same because it's like here there's very clearly animals used as vehicles or animals with mechanic components. But Chima would just be like you have a jet, but you make the front of the jet a lion.
Bird, yeah.
And that works on occasion. Like the Kurok snowmobile was very similar, and I felt it worked there because it wasn't overused. With Chima, every single set they made was like that. You have a wall,
tank, but it's also a rhino.
You have a castle, but the castle face has to be a lion. You have a crocodile base. Well, it has to be a crocodile shaped, obviously. And eventually it just gets old.
And like the same can be said with like, well, not really the same, but like the Ninjago, for instance, is animals. But I mean, there's only so many times you can get a dragon before it's like, all right, cool, another dragon. See anything else?
Exactly the same as the other dragons.
Yeah, it's more dragons. I like dragons as much as the next guy.
I know Prpl would care.
Yeah, Prpl always like.
I like dragons.
You know you like dragons, but it'd be cool to get other animals, and I think these animals are so well designed in there.
Actually, it would be cool to get like other styles of dragons, because like Lloyd's mech dragon was very different from like what we've gotten before, because it didn't have like wings or anything. It was just a very serpent-like dragon.
That's why I liked Master Wu's dragon way back when, the Chinese
Master Wu's dragon was very an Asian dragon. They should do a bit more of those. Like you can push dragon design even a bit more than they're doing in Ninjago. I feel like all the dragons are like slowly, like they're small improvements on the same dragon in different colors. So
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I want this set. Like, I wish this was a real set so I could buy it.
Would buy immediately.
I would
this
absolutely
looks
buy this.
amazing.
This is so
Yeah.
good. So the only critique, too many minifigures, really, and it's a little pricey. But I mean, I would buy it. So
is
I
one
think
of
this
them
is
a
great.
weaponized mahi? Is that what it looks like?
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome! I love that.
Yeah, it's not a mahi. He says it's mahi inspired.
Okay,
Fair
that's
enough.
great. That's the.
Oh no, it is a mahi. It is a mahi. It's a mahi inspired
Yeah,
by
right.
Sanicole's design.
Shout out to Sanicle.
I'm not sure which one
For
Sanicle made.
Sanicle the Hedgehog.
I'm sure we've covered it before though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at his activity and topics and see what.
Motara Attack Force.
Praise based.
Oh no, this is replying. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that is a mahi. That's really cool. Freaking
Oh
love
wow,
this.
there's another set that just got made in the last 16 hours that I haven't seen. I'll add it to the list. My bad.
Go ahead and link that one. We'll talk about that one next.
Okay. Or actually, we're gonna talk about that one next because it is made by Santa Kyle, and that's how I saw it. It's the Vako Nest.
Vaco Nest.
Vaco.
All right. Whoa! Look at that thing.
What?
So this is the Vako.
Look at that thing.
This thing is the thing that the fire spitter that they fight in.
Yeah, this is the fire spitters that they fight.
Okay.
That's so cool.
So
Look at this, man. Oh man, that's so cool. We wrote that in the
that
script and
Vaco
someone made
is
it into
so
a set.
unique looking. That looks like nothing else. I feel like the wall is a bit un-Lego-esque as far as
Yeah.
like, they haven't done anything like that in a set.
I think the
maybe
wall
we
might just be a display. I'm not sure if he
might.
intended that to be part of the set.
That's true. It almost doesn't need it. You're probably right. It's why it is the display.
Yeah, I think it's just there to kind of make that look a little more impressive, I guess.
Fair enough.
I agree. You almost don't even need it. Like, if you were to kind of just add a bit more to the Vaco itself to give it some more
Yeah.
flair, you can almost make this just a set
I
on
think
its own.
the body is the only thing that's a little too smooth, and it could use a bit more detailing on it. And I think it's just one piece, one giant piece. So
Yeah.
they could have, if you take that body and you make a more custom build out of that, it would look amazing.
What if you give it stickers?
But
You could give it stickers. I actually kind of like that it's one piece because then you can get away with doing multiple. Because like there's so few pieces actually being used there, you can actually get like maybe
Vaco
2
army?
or 3, yeah,
Yeah.
without it
And-
really inflating that piece count.
in that case, let's do that, but add Mexel joints to the tail or something just to make the tail a bit more. The tail is also one giant piece.
Yeah.
that's attached
Well,
to
it's
the end
like
of that,
3
so-
pieces, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. It's technically 3 pieces, but the pieces can't move. So for all intents and purposes, it's a giant piece.
They can rotate.
I love the way it's designed though. So like I think for me the only like the flaws here that the technical work and its build is a little lacking, but I think the actual appearance that it has is perfect.
Yeah, it's
It has
like,
a nice aesthetic.
It's exactly what I envisioned.
Vaguely unsettling, creepy kind of a look that a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It looks like a Ninjago monster from the TV show.
It does.
Where you're
Yeah.
like, so uncanny. It doesn't.
So weird and uncanny and
but
creepy,
when
yeah.
it's in a set, it's just like it's good.
I love that instead of going like where a lot of other people would have gone with like just a red and like maybe a red and yellow fire monster, he did black and transparent orange. Very, very
Yeah.
striking design, and I
The
love
shells
that.
might even be transparent black, like was used on Lava Beast. I'm not sure, but that's like the great thing. It's like smoky black.
Oh, that fits him so well too. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you are right. It doesn't in the render. It doesn't show up as well, but like if you actually built it out of the set parts, it would look amazing.
Yep.
That's awesome.
All right. So let's move on here because we're starting to run out of time. We might not be able to hit all the rest of these topics actually.
Go.
But here is next set by Kardax, the Mangai Stronghold. So this is yet another Mangai kind of castle fortress set. We've seen a couple of these at this point. This one is still really cool. Once again, I think too many Matoran, too many minifigures there. Though I guess at this size it kind of works.
Yeah, 8 minifigures for this size. Actually, I think it works.
Yeah.
He does have a compilation topic where he goes through all of them and the parts in all of them. So I'll bring up the parts level and we can see if like how
Yeah, this guy essentially made an entire year's like wave.
Yeah,
of sets
basically.
for
There's
Civil
one
War.
set for each of the regions. And the piece count is 1,642. So
Okay,
that'd be like a hunt. Yeah, it would be like
Maybe a little too big for them
for a set.
We don't often see sets at that price point for regular themes. If I might say that, like that'd be like $160. Only time we get that is for licensed themes or movies. Maybe something closer to 120 would be more applicable. But
maybe.
That's just me.
Yeah. So this is also really well designed. There's some
Yes.
cool other things going on there, but yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and. What was that?
I don't know if it's the Zephyrs or not, but you have these green people with like wing gliders. I love them.
Oh yeah. I thought that was a neat idea too.
I think they're the Lee Matoran.
So
Lions.
the next Kardax set here is based off of one we've already talked about, and he kind of took our comments on it and rolled with that. This is the Stealth Gukko. So I don't know if you guys remember, we talked about his Gukko design before, and we were like, oh, this could really work if it was blue, and it's like a Stealth Gukko because it's blue and it hides in the sky. So we actually made a unique design for the Stealth Gukko.
On point. I love it.
Very, very cool idea. I'm not exactly sure what the exact differences between this one and this other one are. It looks like the wings are different.
Yeah, and this one would come with like attacking people on it. So there's like stations on it.
This one's really cool. Another instant. I love the Rahi designs. I think the Rahi.
Yeah,
all the Rahi
I love
ones.
they kind of drew inspiration from G1 with like the disc launcher on the back or some sort of projectile launcher on the back.
Oh yeah, you're right, huh?
Mangai Skydox, and then there's the new one. It's been streamlined a bit to look more agile.
Yeah,
it looks like
it's kind of got like the double wing thing kind of going on too, where like the wings are separated.
Yeah. This older one was definitely a transport one, and then this one's more.
This is the attack one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell. That's cool. I actually like the evolution of that. You can have like the normal one in year 1, and then like the attack one in year 2. That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. I like that.
That makes sense.
Cool. And next up, we have the. I believe this is I think you're right. I think all these are Kardaxes. This is the Ihuan Gate. I like this one a lot. So this is just kind of it's a very small scale one compared to some of the others.
If it's Ihuan, please tell me. It hurts my head at this point. Ihuan versus Ihuan.
It's Ihuan.
Ihuan.
Yeah, there's no extra I. Ihuan. That sounds awful.
Ihuan.
It's 1,114 pieces.
That's more like it.
Very compact design here too. Most of those pieces seem to be kind of really building on that like just general shape, which looks good. It looks great.
My favorite part without question is this little gazebo almost that has like icicles hanging down from the ceiling.
Yeah, that's clever.
Ice on the roof.
You can like it's almost modular in the sense that you can take off the roof and stuff and look inside. There's like bunks. There's all this stuff where the guards.
A lot of interior detailing here, like especially like on the steps and like the chairs and the fireplace.
Zoom up.
Red flags.
It's so good, dude.
It's really well done. Very detailed.
Yeah. Wow. I absolutely love this. I would totally buy this too. Man.
Now, the only thing I could say is that, like, maybe if you're looking at it and you're saying this is going to be $120, it looks small and you don't see all the detail inside at first. Some people might be adverse to buying this for $120 or $100 or whatever it would cost.
Yeah.
So that might be.
That was always the trade-off for like doing like more like building focused sets. Is that if we want really detailed ones, most of that detail is going to be compact. It wouldn't look like it's worth the price that it was.
Right.
We ran into that with some of our Lee Koro designs back when we did the original BrickFeed contest. Where some of them are really good, but some of them are compact.
Part of the issue too, I was thinking, is that like BIONICLE has it's a Lego owned theme, but like like most of the detailed interior sets cost like in the hundreds. Modular buildings are $400 because they look big and they have all the interior detail too. So wrap that up.
Next one is another Ihuan set, and we're kind of going back to the concept that we had with Motara. So immediately instant buy. It works just as well. Freaking love this. These Rahi sets are so good, man. I love these so much.
They
Look
are
at it.
amazing.
Absorb
They
it.
are amazing, man. I love this is our version
5
of
out
the battle
10
packs,
dragons.
basically, and it's like it's so good.
Freaking Ice Wolf set. Like, I mean, just like, oh my god, I love
The
these
mammoth.
things.
We never got a like a mammoth Rakshi, and I've always regretted that.
Rahi.
You're right. You're right, Rahi. That's what I meant to say.
Their names are so similar.
They are, but the wolf
They
is
are
great too.
quite similar.
Oh man.
Yeah, dude.
Just
Oh my
all
gosh.
around.
All the
Amazing.
detail, all the G1 elements incorporated. It just
I was
all
just gonna
the
say
detailing.
on the mammoth. Oh, it's so good.
It's so well done, man. Oh my gosh. I want this. I want this to be real.
And he details ways to split it down into 2 smaller sets if need be. One, the Frost Wolf attack and the Mammoth Guard, and he details how you could split the minifigures up. For me, they could totally be released as one, it's just with fewer minifigures. However, if it's meant to be a battle pack, it might be more attainable to have one Rahi and several minifigs. That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
We're
Yeah,
done.
that is all the set ideas, and we are out of time. So, thank you guys for joining this episode of BrickConicle. Hope you guys liked it. There was so many awesome sets and stuff to talk about and all the story pitches. So, man, this week has been freaking busy. Knocking it out of the park with those submissions. So, if you want to submit your own ideas, feel free to head over to the message boards at board.ttvchannel.com. Post your mocks, post your story concepts, do whatever you want that you think could help the BrickConicle process along. It'd be really appreciated. We might talk about it on the show. Make more scripts. Do that. While you're at it, be sure to head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/the TTV channel. You can join our live studio audience here in the sponsor chat and actually have your comments featured on the video on the live stream on YouTube, which is pretty neato and
see all the epic pictures we post too.
Yeah, you can see all the pictures that some of them weren't able to make it onto the video itself, so that's pretty cool. You get access to all of our archives early too, so hooray! Hooray! But for now, it's gonna wrap up this episode. I'm Var.
I'm Meso.
I'm John.
And I'm Prpl.
And we will see you guys next week for another exciting episode of Brainstorm.
How you doing, Prpl?
It's been better.
Wake up, Prpl.
I'm awake.
Wake up.
How are you?
I'm awake.
I'm waking up.
I'm awake. I'm just tired.
My bones.
Welcome to the new. All right. Bye, guys.
Goodbye.